Hello everybody, Richard here with CRG Games, and today I want to take a little bit and show you guys one of my favorite methods of investing in Magic the Gathering. And I do that with foils. So the cool thing about foils is they basically work off of a multiplier system. So if you have the regular card, the base card, and then you have the foil version, the value of that foil version will be some multiplier of the value of the regular version. Now that can be less than 1, it can be 1, and it can be much greater than 1. And if you give me just a second, my cat wants to come in, in the room here. Come on. So anytime she hears me talking and it's not to her, she gets really needy. So I'll let her in here too. So one of the things that I like to do is scour the internet, different websites, but mostly eBay and TCG for foils. And basically what I'm looking for when I'm trying to find foils are, firstly, old border. So this is going to be anything before 8th edition, which was in 2004. That was Magic's 10th anniversary, and they had a border change. So anything before that is going to have the old style border. Now, one of the first things I like to invest in are basic lands, foil basic lands. Now I keep everything sleeved just because I want them to stay intact and not put oils and stuff on the cards and not scratch them. But these cards generally, depending on the art, are not that expensive. For the most part, you can pick these up for under $10 a piece. Now that seems kind of crazy because it's just a basic land, but they're not just basic lands. These are part of Magic's history. And I don't know if they still do it, but a lot of times back in the day, you could put different lands together and the arts would all go together to make a picture. I believe they've done that through several sets throughout Magic's history. So the next thing I like to do is look for non-basic lands. And kind of one of the things I look out for are weird things. There's been a lot of cards. There's something like 20 or 20 plus thousand cards in Magic history. And when you're just looking on the internet for foils, don't type anything in, anything specific. Just go on eBay, type in foil, Magic the Gathering, and just start looking. And you'll find all kinds of weird cards. So Peat Bog isn't that weird. But something like Dromar's Cavern, when I saw this is a card I'd never seen before. It looked cool, and it was in foil. So I picked it up. Hinge of Ramos. I had never seen this one before, and the art is just really cool. And again, it's old border. Meteor Crater. This is one that I picked up maybe a couple of months ago. Again, another one that I had never seen. Yeah, it is damaged, unfortunately, though. This is one of the things that you got to watch out for. So, I just looked at the picture. I didn't really read the description on the listing, and the bottom part of the card here has a very, very heavy crimp, but not a crimp. I'm sorry, a crease. But the card is very playable still. So one of the cool things about old border foils is they don't necessarily need to be in perfect condition. However, I would encourage you to look for cards that are at least sleeve playable, because it doesn't really do you any good if you can't show it off. That's the way I feel, at least. Crystal Quarry. I actually got this in part of a collection in 2020. So in times like today or in 2020, when prices are going down and people are selling off collections to get extra money, that's the time when you need to be looking out for this kind of stuff. So this card only cost me, pennies on the dollar as part of that collection. However, the card itself now is worth over $100. The foil multiplier is insane on some of these. Riftstone Portal. This is another one that I had never seen before. It has a unique effect that I have not seen before. A lot of old stuff in Magic's history is not reserve list, but has abilities that have a very low likelihood of being reprinted. So Riftstone Portal, as far as I know, this is the only foil printing, and it's just a really cool card. If you discard this or somehow it ends up in the graveyard, now all your lands tap for a green or a white mana. It's a unique ability that I had not seen before, so I had to pick that up. And then you don't always have to buy the old stuff. Sometimes you can pick up really good deals on more modern cards like Sunken Ruins here, Moonring Island. This was a unique card that I hadn't seen before. Ancient Tomb, I actually picked this up at a shop for around $40. I paid retail price for this a couple years ago. And as you've seen, Ancient Tombs have steadily increased in price. And Vault of Whispers, this card is actually pretty beat, but again, it's sleeve playable. And as time goes on, and these cards leave the market, the original versions just about always appreciate in value, even if they are heavily damaged. So the next thing I like to look for are colorless cards, mainly things like artifacts. So we'll take a look at those here. Anything in the Urza's era, I don't care if it's a common, uncommon, or rare, if you can find it in foil, I feel like you should probably pick those up if it's a good deal. And I determine a good deal by the price that the card is listed for, the condition it's in, and what they are currently selling for based on sold listings on eBay and TCG. Now, just because a card doesn't sell very often, there may not be a ton of foil caltrips coming into the market. If you know this sticker, you'll know I got this from Abu Games on eBay. So Abu Games has a ton of foils, and a lot of times they're at really great prices. Joyra's Toolbox. This is another Urza's card. Thran Foundry. Anytime I find these that are good deals, I pick them up. And again, they don't have to be perfect. This one's got clouding around the edges. However, it is sleeve playable, and it's an original version, so it's not something you're going to see just being reprinted like this, I would hope. And Tech. So this is a unique card that I had never seen before when I came across it. I did pay a little bit more for this. I think I paid like $25. And when I had looked at the TCG listings, I believe at the time it was like $60 or $70. That may have retraced from then. But it was a cool card with a unique ability from Invasion. So it's old border. And it's foil. This card is worth more than $25 now. Thran Weaponry. I have a couple of these. I don't know if it's really that playable, but I've got a couple of them because, again, Urza's era and foil. So, I mean, these cards came out in 1999. I'm sure there's a large portion of the player base right now, or a decent portion of the player base that is younger than this card is. So the fact that they have lasted this long without being lost or damaged is amazing. Another thing I like to invest in are pre-releases. Now, these days, the pre-releases are mainly just, one stamp with the year on it, but traditionally, you had the date of the pre-release. And here I've got a set of the Kaldra artifacts, so shield, sword, and helmet, or helm. They're in pretty good condition. They're not perfect. There's there's slight clouding on the borders, and you'll find that a lot in the old border foils. A lot of times back in the day, people didn't play with sleeves. I remember when I was a kid, the cards always ended up on a rough surface. We didn't have play mats. We didn't have sleeves. They just ended up on the ground eventually. And these are from 2003. Well, 2003, 4, and 4. We've got a batter skull here. Anytime you find a card that has a lot of the same printings and the same art, and then you have something with a different art, that's also something I like to pick up because it is more unique. And I got a Path Razor here. So Walking Atlas, I bought a playset of these for I think under $10. around a year ago. And if you've checked the market recently on these, they have increased in value pretty significantly. Plus, it's a cool card. It's not old border, but this is in that middle era between um, uh, 8th edition and M15, where they had this border style, and then they changed it. So another thing you got to look out for are staples, like Whisper Silk Cloak. When you find these in foil, generally they have a pretty decent foil multiplier on it, and if you can get it for a good price, you stand a chance of being able to make a few dollars on it. Mind's Eye, this is from the Commander's Arsenal. Really, any of the cards from this product are pretty expensive. Mind's Eye, I just thought it was kind of a neat card, but I really like to have the Command Tower, but I think it's around $70. Stabilizer and Icy Manipulator and Triskelion. So more cool cards. Triskelion actually has a lot of clouding, but that doesn't really matter a whole lot. If you're not getting these graded, it doesn't matter. What matters is picking them up at a good price. So next we'll go with multicolored cards here. And I need to let my cat out because she is getting antsy. All right, sorry about that. When I'm looking at multicolor cards, a lot of times you could find just really strange things. And if you can get them at a good price, of course, you stand, a good chance of making money. So Guided Passage, for example. The last time I checked, the foil version of this was around $40 to $50. I think I picked two of them up for less than $20 for both of them. Now, granted, I did pick these up quite a while ago, but what you're looking for is return on investment. So a 4x return on your investment over a year, that's pretty good. That's better than the stock market, especially right now. Plus, this is one of my all-time favorite cards. Creekwood Liege, that's always a good one. Coalition Victory, so this card has been rising in price quite substantially. This one has a good bit of clouding on it, but it is, of course, very sleeve playable. Temporal Spring, even if they're commons, it doesn't really matter. If you get it at the right price, they generally go up in value over time. Now, on a common or an uncommon, and that's not, super ubiquitous, it may take a little while. But there's always going to be that portion of people that are looking to foil out their deck. So Time Sieve. This card, I picked it up dirt cheap on eBay probably a year or two ago. And it looks like there's a ding there, but that's actually just the sleeve. I want to say this is around the $60 range, $50 to $60 range. And I think I just looked it up actually, I paid around $6 or $7 for that card. And Time Spiral cards, the original Time Spiral cards, I think are also a pretty good value for the dollars. A lot of times you can find these cheaper than you can the original version that came before it. So I recommend picking those up. We got Sig River Guide, Over a Being of Myth. This is a pre-release. And sometimes the pre-releases back in the day had different colored stamps. I've seen orange and I've seen blue. I think I've seen red, but it might have just been orange, actually. Lore Scale Coatl, always a good one. And this is the Sanskrit pre-release of Fungal Shambler. So I remember when I came across this card, I'd never seen anything with this, different language text. But back in the day, in the late 2000s, the early 2000s, late 90s, there was a good bit of cards that came out, pre-release cards that had different languages on them. I don't know how many are out there, but I picked up a play set of these for, I want to say $1 or $2 a piece on TCG a long time ago. And then the next thing I knew, these things had rocketed up in price. And I don't know the current price, but I thought they were around $10 to $15 a piece. That could have changed. So then we've got our white cards. Anything 7th edition, I don't care if it's common, uncommon, or rare. I believe every single card in 7th edition has a different art, which makes them pretty unique. And undoubtedly, you've already noticed that a lot of cards from 7th edition, especially foils, command a premium. And you'll notice that it has a black border. The foils from those sets, like 7th, 8th, and I believe 9th also had black borders. False Prophet, this is another really old, 1999 pre-release card. Very good condition. Moment of Silence. I mean, a lot of these cards that I have in the white foils are just commons or uncommons, but that's okay because the card is from 1999. So the fact that I still have it, or that I even own it in the condition that it is, I think is pretty miraculous. Decree of Justice. I picked this one up in a collection, although it is pretty heavily played. You can't really tell too much, but the surface is very heavily clouded. So we've got Peace and Quiet. This is another one I picked up at Abu Games. I have a lot of cards I picked up on Abu Games. One of the things you need to watch out for, and this is why I buy a lot of cards from them, is because they have high resolution scans. So a lot of times you'll find cards that are listed as near mint, old border foils, like True Believer here. And this one actually is near mint. Now, what you'll find is when you get them, if it's just somebody that doesn't know a ton about the game or about cards, or maybe they're just a flipper, they won't take the time to take the clouding into account. And I've received a lot of cards that were listed near mint, and then I got them, and then there was clouding. On the back there may have been chips in the corners that just they didn't show well, in the pictures. But that's why it's very important when you're looking to purchase cards like this, you need to have photos. Steel Shaper's Gift. So this is an absolute beautiful card. It's one of my favorite arts. It's one of my buddy's favorite arts as well. I picked this up for $60. And at the time I thought, man, this is expensive. Well, now it's around 130 to 140. And it is very much near mint, no clouding. It is double sleeved. If you have cards like this, what I recommend doing is putting them in the Dragon Shield sealable sleeves. That will prevent moisture intrusion and help keep the cards flat for the, hopefully a very long remainder of their life. Terra Eternal. I don't know if this is a really playable card or what I would even use it to do, but the art is very cool. It's got this like fisheye lens look to it. That's really the only reason I bought it. Mana Tithe, because this is a very playable card. Light from Within. This is another one that I had not seen, and it has a mechanic that isn't printed now. I don't know when the last time it was actually printed, but it's chroma, and it just has a really cool art. So really, that's all you need sometimes. Something that's unique, because you never know what's going to come out in a new set that's going to interact with something, and just this card might go from $5 to $100 overnight because there's a buyout. You never know, and because the supply is generally lower on foils, they are subject to fluctuations pretty heavily. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Sarah Ascendant. This was my buddy's card. I bought it off of him for around $50. Beautiful card, beautiful art, and sometimes that's all you need. Porphyry Nodes. So this was actually reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered, and I did pull a couple of them, but nothing beats the original, and I will maintain that basically forever. Masako the Humorless. I don't remember exactly why I bought this. I think it was because it seemed cool. The art was great. It was near mint, and it has a pretty neat ability. Then this is a newer card. This is from the dual deck Divine versus Demonic. A lot of great foil angels in that set. Burst of Energy, just a neat looking card. Has a nice ability, I guess, for 1 mana. It's not too crazy, but it's from the Urza's block, and that automatically, to me, makes it worth more. And then we've got Unset Cards. So a lot of these foils don't command any premium. They don't have a whole lot of value, but there are some really cool cards. And Rules Lawyer, for example, I like to just flash this anytime I want to play something that breaks a rule or whatever. Doesn't matter because they don't apply. That's simply just like a troll card. Second Sunrise is pretty cool. This is definitely a playable card. If somebody board wipes, get all your stuff back. And then I do have a decent amount of the original Time Spiral Time Shifted cards, and Conspiracy is one of them. I've been recording for a while, I suppose. Morality Shift. This is a neat card that just has a unique ability. Exchange your graveyard and library, and then shuffle your library. I don't know any cards that are like that. And it has a crazy casting cost. I don't know anybody that would ever use this or what situation you would, but it's cool. Oblivion Crown, just a cool art. Mutilate, also pretty cool art. Something that, I don't know how this was at the time when it came out, but I look at this and I'm just like, wow. I mean, they just don't make cards like they used to. One with Nothing, very troll card. Absolutely love it. Discard your hand for 1 mana instant speed. I don't know what this was used for at the time, but I love this card. I know there's a combo with this that you can like lose the game on turn 1, but I don't have all the cards for that, I don't believe. Marry the Cursed, obviously a great card. I mean, look at the foiling in the light there. Just an amazing card. And sometimes you might spend a little more. It's okay to spend 20, 30 bucks on a card that's going to be worth, maybe 70, 80, 90, $100 in the future. Zombie Infestation, another cool one. Necropotence or Necropotence. I love this card. This is the dual deck Garfield versus Finkel version. And I believe it's the only old foil version of this card. I have 2 of these. I picked one of them up for about $70, and the other one I got in a collection for probably my cost on it was like $5, and these are over $100 now. But I have seen them kind of retracing in price. Some have been selling for, it looks like, 80 to 90. But when you're only, when you only paid maybe 70 or 5, it becomes extremely worth it. Phyrexian Rager. I was just looking at this one up last night, and it appears to have gone up in price significantly. This was just a foil common that I got in a bulk collection, and I've definitely made my money back on it for sure after I sell it. And Temporal Extortion. So I paid a pretty penny for this. I want to say I paid around 60 something dollars, but it's an iconic card. It has a very unique art, and it's something that you can't get from new cards. So things like this tend to appreciate in value over time. And then Balefire Dragon, I actually got this in a collection. I need to put it in a little bit better sleeve, I believe, because it's been in the same sleeve. One of the things you need to keep in mind with old foils, every once in a while, you need to put new sleeves on them, because the sleeves, from what I understand, will kind of break down over time. If you've got good sleeves on them, great. But when they're rubbing up against each other, eventually you're not going to be able to see through them quite as clearly, and it pays to really put a new sleeve on it. So we'll go through here a little bit quicker now, so you can just see some of the cards here. Battle Squadron, just an awesome card. Custody Battle, I love this card. This is kind of a low-key spec for me, solely because I don't think they'll ever reprint this. It just doesn't seem like it fits anything. In the real world, when parents are fighting for custody, like this is like, it can be an ugly thing. I just don't think they're going to put this on a card again. And I think I picked up 3 or 4 copies of this for $5 a piece. I just love it. Then I've got my absolute favorite card, art-wise, because my favorite color is red, and this is Searing Wind. I just love the red in this card. I have one that I pulled back in the day when I was trying to buy all of the packs and open them all. So I have one that's pack fresh, and then I bought this one so I can play with it. So it's a little bit less than pack fresh. Then we got Accelerate. That is a 2-mana instant. Seemed like a good card. It's old and it's foil. Shrieking Mog. I think I paid around $20 for this card, and if I remember right, it's in the $30 to $40 range. So that was a pretty good investment there. Some of these you're probably going to have to keep for, a year or more before you really start seeing major returns on them. But that's okay, as long as you're not overpaying for the foils. Dragon Speaker Shaman, I don't remember exactly where I got this. I think it was part of a collection. Ball Lightning. I believe this is the Judge promo. It's a promo. No, I'm sorry. This is a DCI promo. Ball Lightning from 2001. I mean, again, an iconic card. A 6/1 for 3. And it's foil. Then we got some blues here. So we got Stormscape Master, Twiddle. Very, very playable card. Artificial Evolution. I don't know if that's exactly as playable, but it has a giant crab lobster dude. And actually, I think it's a Lycid. The Pinnacle of Evolution. Mind Bend. Just a cool art. Shifting Sliver. I was actually given this one. And it ended up being like, I think it's like $40 or $50, and I was very surprised. So I sent a gift in return. Diplomatic Immunity. I just love this card. Now, I have 2 of these. This is the one that is not damaged. I bought another one on TCG, and in transit, it did get a damaged border, but it's not too bad, actually. It's very playable still. Remand. That's actually from Time Sorry Mastered. I pulled that recently. Trade Secrets. I believe this is banned. And I really like to buy foils of banned cards because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking one day it's going to be unbanned and this is going to go to the moon. Maybe. Or maybe it never gets unbanned. It's still really cool. Retract. This is, again, just a really cool art. And I love mirrors. Supreme Inquisitor. I think that was just a neat card. Circular Logic. This is one I picked up for... At the time, it was a more expensive one. I think I picked it up around $10. I do believe it's worth a good bit more than that now. Dream's Grip, kind of a neat card. Second Wind. I saw recently that these appear to be spiking in value, and I picked them up for $5 or $6. I got a couple of them. It's a shame that this border did not catch on more. So whenever I see these, I usually try to pick them up just because they probably are never going to be reprinted in anything outside of the list. And so Riptide Shapeshifter, another pretty neat blue card. Mistform Ultimatus. Intruder Alarm, this is a pricey one. I actually picked up, I think 2 or 3 Intruder Alarms, and one of them was foil for around $20, I want to say. And I believe just this one alone is worth significantly more than that now. Stormscape Familiar. This isn't really an expensive card, and it is common, but I love it. And I would probably pick up as many copies of this as possible, personally, just because I think it's really cool. I mean, the art is beautiful. Heather Hudson was the artist on this card. And then we got green. So this is my last little stack here. Repopulate, specifically just because it's a cool card. We got Vernal Equinox. It seemed like it had a cool ability. And again, old border. Noble Hierarch, because Noble Hierarch is definitely a an iconic card. And it's had a good bit of printings, but nothing beats the original. This is Conflux. New Frontiers. This was kind of a neat card. Descendant's Path. So I love the art of Therese Nielsen. And in my opinion, Descendant's Path is one of the best arts that she has done. She has on her website, you can buy a token set from her, and they are absolutely amazing. I highly recommend checking it out. I've got a set, and I bought a bunch for my friends. And I have one friend that plays Goblin, so I bought him some Goblin tokens, and he's got a Infect deck, so I bought him some Infect tokens, and then I have a sealed box of tokens just for my own personal collection. But Therese Nielsen's art, second to none. Absolutely love it. Biorhythm, awesome card. Magnagoth Treefolk. I picked this up for only a couple dollars. And the reason why is because when I looked on TCG, it appeared to be around $20. So if you can pick something up for 20 to 30% of value, the risk that you are taking is, I would consider, very low. Part of buying old foils is minimizing risk, and if you get them at a low enough price, the worst that can happen is you break even. Elvish Pioneer, I've got a couple of these foils. Endless Swarm, I just thought this was kind of cool, honestly. And with this ability, I hadn't seen that before. I didn't play during this set. So, yeah, snakes and lots of them. Gaia's Herald, just a really cool art. This is 8th edition, so it is black border. And that was the 8th edition is the first set with the new border styles as well. Muraganda Petroglyphs. This is in Time Spiral Remastered, but I do have an original. Orcish Librarian. I don't remember why I got this. I think it was because of something to do with the library paste. It's just something you don't see. And this is a time-shifted card, so it's not the original. I believe the original was a little bit out of the price range I was wanting to pay. But I think the time-shifted cards from the original Time Spiral have a significant room to grow. So that'll wait to be seen. Search for Survivors. This is one I just recently got. I really love cards from Prophecy. If I remember right, it was a very small set, but it has really great arts. Overrun, got a couple of these for dirt cheap, under $10. Ardent Plea, this is a newer one. I did plan on making a Geist of St. Traft deck. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Heart Warden, this one's a little on the LP, MP range, but it's Urza's era. And foils from this era, I have to think, are just not that plentiful. Ramos, that's not part of this. I just got him to build a deck. And then we got some other ones here. Manipulate Fate. This is a recent acquisition. Life's Legacy. Some newer stuff that has, unique abilities and nice art. Confusion in the Ranks. I had not seen this card before. And from what I understand, there are some really jank combos you can play with this. I believe there's a goblin or he's a kobold. And I think you play him and basically you just start taking control of everybody's stuff. Valor. So Judgment foils are some of my favorites because of the art. And this one, I was pretty lucky. So it was listed at near mint. And when I was just inspecting it earlier, it is definitely near mint. This card is almost untouched, pack fresh. And I was very surprised. So, of course, it went straight into a Dragon Shield sealable sleeve. Nantuko Monastery. I don't know if this is actually a really great card. It seems to be pretty strong, being able to just pay 2 and get a 4/4. But we'll see. And it's Judgment, so I had to get that one. Assemble the Legion. So Gatecrash is interesting because it's been out for 10 years now, somewhere around that length of time, and you can still pick up boxes for less than $150. The cards are starting to rise in value though, so this is just one that I thought was neat, and I decided to pick it up. Gisela, this is actually going to be in a deck. I think this is probably a good spec long term though, solely because of it having the 2-piece card where you meld them together. And this is from the Vault Transform. I really like I believe these are unglued lands, one of the first unsets. They're not foil, but they are unique. And I think these are just a part of Magic's history, and they deserve to be preserved. Beast of Burden, just another Urza's era, artifact creature. Some of the most beautiful cards that I think WotC's ever made. So these lands are, I just found out, extremely expensive, anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks to all the way up to, I think, 60 or 70 for the islands. So I'm just trying to get one of each. The arts are absolutely incredible. So I can see why they command so much value. And then the last one here in this little selection is Starfield Mystic. Just a pre-release, has a nice ability, and the art's cool. So all of these cards here, I picked up for less than 50% of what they cost. Now, at the time, some of them I thought were a little on the pricey side. Guided Passage, I think I paid like $24 for this. If I remember right, it's basically doubled in value, though. This is a good way to get into investing in Magic without having to put in, tens of thousands of dollars. A lot of times you can find these cards very cheap, $3, $4, $5, $6 a pop, and they'll have values, in the $20, $30, $40, $50 range if you're lucky. You got to be mindful of condition. A lot of cards from this era, especially foils, have a significant amount of clouding, and that's just a factor of being from a time when not everybody used sleeves, and they just weren't that prevalent. But that's kind of just, that comes with, investing in these kind of cards. I highly recommend going on eBay, maybe taking a look at Abu Games. You will probably be bidding against me actually every once in a while, but you can find some really spicy deals. Hit up your local LGSs, see if they have any old border foils. Trade with other players, buy from other players. In the long term, as the Magic the Gathering player population gets older, you would assume that they acquire more wealth and they are able to spend money on the pricey foil versions. So they tend to rise in price, not to mention inflation. So that's been my little spiel here. I hope you guys found some of these cards cool and unique, and maybe you saw one that you'd never seen before. I know I learn about new cards almost daily, and I've been playing for about 10 years. So I will be doing some more box openings here soon, probably Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. But the new sets are coming out, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do just yet. Until then, I will catch you guys later.